Today we're in New York City for a portrait session. Lots of portrait tips to come over this video. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't yet, or just subscribe if you like Mexican Coke.
Taylor Jackson.
Shooting 67 weddings last year.
Taylor Jackson, welcome.
So Taylor, you are well known in this community. You're an amazing photographer.
Just as a reminder, it still is Patreon month, which means I'm doing less videos here on YouTube, but videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on Patreon. Head over there if you're a wedding photographer and you really want to make 2020 your best year ever. Today we're here on the New York City High Line, and I'm joined by my friend, Miguel.
What's up?
We're going to be doing a portrait session up here. I am normally working with wedding couples and people that aren't completely comfortable in front of the camera, and I'm very comfortable in that situation. I feel like Miguel has a lot more comfort in working in studio and working with people that are used to having their photo taken. So I'm going to rely a little bit on your expertise here. Do you have one tip to get us started?
Yeah. So huge tip. Make sure that you run to your local store and get Coca-Cola, but not just any Coca-Cola.
This spot here specifically, I'm trying to isolate against anything else that's kind of going on in the background. So I like the green, and it really doesn't even look like we're anywhere in the city right now. And that nice shallow depth of field, making some great images. So I'm pretty happy with that. I'm gonna do a few more in vertical because the internet now demands vertical images. I also like to kind of just like hide things, make a little front focus, bokeh. Here's your the portrait hack of the day.
Boom.
Tiny leaf. That's all you do. You move it around. Sometimes it works, sometimes it really super doesn't. But today, Miguel, can I use your hand?
Yes.
So I'm trying to shoot through the tiny leaves like this. So if I can hold one. If you just want to go on like the very bottom of the element, there. Right there is perfect. And rotate it a little bit more if possible.
You want to know how to make this photo better?
Out of focus Coke?
Oh yeah.
Can you put that? Can you give me some out of focus Coke? I'm ready. I'm ready for it. It's actually not bad.
Of course it doesn't look bad.
So this is the Mexican Coke hack for photographers.
I told you.
Rather than spending the money to get a vintage lens, you can just make those effects with this Coke. Yeah, lots of people are stopping. They're very intrigued to see what we're doing.
Now everybody's going to be shooting with Mexican Coke bottles. Oh snap!
Right? Gives a little.
I love it.
A nice bottle.
That photo just got like 100% better.
It was okay with the leaves. Mexican Coke really amped up. So hack number one.
Hack number one again. Mexican Coke coming through.
All right.
You're going to see this all throughout the video.
Yeah. All right, let's keep walking. We'll take a walk this way. I'm always looking for natural frames, so we're gonna go over here. And I know as soon as we walk over here, the problem with it's like, whoa, there's a guy with the camera?
Yep.
So there was nobody. So I'm gonna have you kind of right where Miguel's at there. Another thing that I do look for is a background that is darker than kind of the foreground. So if my subject is in the light, I'm looking for a background that's a lot darker if possible to kind of make that natural contrast and create that separation. The lighting is really, really good here though. I like this bounce. The lighting in this area is amazing. I'm getting some really nice bounce off this kind of silver floor, I guess. And can I borrow the Mexican Coke for All right, cool. I think we got what we needed. So tip number 2, use the Mexican Coke, always. Another tip is to get closer whenever possible. I feel like we all have a tendency to want to separate and not be real up there. I am maybe the prime example of it. I usually shoot with an 85. I'm usually a lot further away. Today I have to remind myself to get closer because usually if your photo's not good, it's just because you're not close enough to your subject. Out here. Perfect. So not only do we have really good light here, we also have leading lines in the ceiling, leading lines on the ground, and just really phenomenal lighting. So it is quite easy to take images here. We're also just in the perfect natural frame that I've really ever seen. So if you need somewhere to shoot and you're near the High Line, come here. You don't need to bring any lights or anything. And you can just take great photos. I like to get people walking because it's a comfortable place, I think, for most people, even if they are not used to being in front of a camera. As soon as you start walking, you just kind of know what to do. And I find that comes through a lot better in photos. Now we're gonna go live to Miguel for his tip right now.
Yes, indeed. So One of the things that I do that's a little bit different than a lot of other portrait photographers is that I don't shoot wide open a lot. So one of the tips that I would recommend to you if you're shooting portraits is to shoot at slightly higher f-stops that you might not, or that you might usually avoid. So like say for example, instead of shooting at f1.8 like I have on this 135, I'm actually going to shoot at 3.2 or 3.5, or I might even go crazy and just do like, I don't know, f5.6 or f6.3 or 7.1. We might just keep going up just until we basically have a bad photo. But you want to keep your aperture up a little higher so that you can get a little bit more depth of field. You can see more of your surroundings and see more of the skin texture in your model. So let's do it. Yeah, this I can see is so here's another little you want to get low, like what's happening right now with the camera. Oftentimes we're shooting at eye level, or sometimes if we're tall, we're shooting down at people. So you want to get used to just kind of getting as low as you can. And the reason why I'm doing that here is there's beautiful light coming through, but you have these kind of lights above that are just adding some really nice leading lines. So we have them on the ground because there's train tracks, but there's some above as well. And in order to capture that, we got to get a little lower than our model and shoot slightly upwards, and we have a pretty cool shot.
So again, this is just like the perfect lines set up here. Perfect. Some good lines, some good color, and just kind of that natural frame again, which you're finding a lot here. I feel like with buildings in big cities, it's a little bit easier to find. If I was out in the forest or the wilderness, I'd be looking for more of natural frames, either with trees or plants or something, or even creating it myself by bringing things over the lens, or by using the Mexican Coke.
When I get to my next shot, I've done this whole thing without a single Mexican Coke.
Yeah.
And I don't think we've actually had a Mexican Coke in a shot. So that's the next tip. Use props. Bring stuff with you for your portrait shoots, whether it be Mexican Coke or hats or jewelry or balloons or anything. Have fun with it. In this case, here's the cool thing. We didn't even plan this. Blue dress with kind of like a dark colored drink with a red label. It's just like all complementary colors. No doubt. It's perfect. Oh, love it. I'm telling you, it's so easy when you have a bottle of Mexican Coke. It's great. No, but I mean, really, you know, having a good model really helps. But if you're not working with models and you're working with regular people, one of the big things, this is another portrait tip, you don't want people to get in their own heads. The longer that they have to sit there and think about the photo shoot and what's happening and all of that good stuff, they start to psych themselves out and they don't do a good job. So you want to make sure that you give them something to kind of distract them a little bit and make sure that they're having a good time and they have fun. Because if they're doing that, they're probably going to give you better expressions and better poses. So use those props and talk to your models the entire time as well to make sure that they're not in their heads telling themselves that they're not doing a good job when they're actually doing a really good job. All right, so for the next tip, one of the things that I see a lot of photographers do, both new and seasoned, is that they leave way too much headroom above their subject's head. And I'll actually show you what that looks like. So Masumi, come join me for a sec. And I want to show you guys what I tend to see quite a bit in portraits that you probably want to avoid. So take a side step actually into it. Yeah, there you go. All right, so we have this composition. All right, so usually what I see photographers do is they'll leave, we'll say 40 to 50% of the frame is basically just whatever the background is. It's not the subject. What you want to do is you want to fill the frame, which in most frames actually leaves maybe like a pinky worth of space above the head. So you definitely want to capture the background. If there's a building or architecture or something like that that looks awesome, by all means, go ahead and have some of that negative space, but it needs to have a purpose. Don't just do it just to do it. So let's take a few more here.
Don't forget the Mexican Coke though.
Oh yeah, that's true. Hold on, that's gonna be a thing.
I wonder if he wants the Mexican Coke or the succulent. Do you want a Mexican Coke or a succulent?
Mexican Coke and a succulent. How about both? Here it is. What? Oh, I'm not gonna lie, that's awesome.
Full
Look at that.
assist.
Mexican Coke for the win.
And succulent.
And succulent.
All right, so this concludes the video. There is an affiliate link to Mexican Coke in the description below, and all proceeds go to Miguel, who
This
is
guy.
probably just gonna buy more Mexican Cokes with the money
actually,
raised.
with the $2 or $3 that I'll get from the affiliate money, I'm going to buy more Mexican Cokes. So what I actually want to see is when they buy it and they use it for their photo shoots, hashtag Mexican Coke Challenge.
All right,
I want to see
Coke
those
Challenge.
photos on Instagram.
Number 1 today. Accidental, but it worked out.
It worked.
That's all.